What's good? How y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to the Don's Favor. Alright. I told y'all I'll be back. Alright. I got a special guest along with me. We talking about Eric Bieniemy. I got Ron from the Arrowhead Pride. That is the SB Nation for the Kansas City Chiefs. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying a good Chiefs season so far. So that's all. I'm feeling blessed about that. That's for sure.
You know what, man? I'm feeling some type of way, man, because I wish we was doing good. But hey, it is what it is, man. Y'all just came off a Super Bowl victory, well deserved, well earned. Man, I took my hat off to y'all, man. Like it seriously took my hat off to Andy Reid, man. This man been doing it for so long, he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we're all happy for Andy. It's crazy how long he's been coaching and how long it took him to get his first Super Bowl ring. And you see some of these other coaches that get it so quickly. So happy for him, and it cemented his legacy as a Hall of Fame coach. There's no debate about it anymore. He's in.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. By the way, if y'all new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button. Share this content out with Atlanta sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. All right. So background on Eric Bieniemy. He is a former Colorado Buffalo. He was a running back in college. He was a Heisman finalist. A lot of people didn't know that. He played 1 year under Andy Reid back in 1999 with the Philadelphia Eagles, and after that season, he became a position coach, a running backs coach. He was at Colorado from 2001 2002, UCLA from 2003 2005. Then he got his first shot at the pros as a running back coach from 2006 2009. A lot of people didn't know he was the person who helped out Adrian Peterson when he first started. So, that was a huge stepping stone for him. And then in 2010, he became the assistant head coach for the Vikings. You know, he was that good. Then he went back to his alma mater, Colorado, to be the offensive coordinator in 2011, 2012. And we know back in 2013, Andy Reid, he became the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he brought along his old player to be the running backs coach for the Chiefs. And he was at that position for 2013, 2017, and after that 2017 season, you know, he said, "Hey, I need you to be my OC," and he's been the OC since in Kansas City since 2018. So, ran down the history. Now, the years he served under Andy Reid from 2013 to now. Um, what happened? You know, like what was going on in Kansas City? We know Andy Reid is a very smart, like one of the most intelligent play callers in the league. Pretty much, I say in history.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Bieniemy comes in as the running backs coach, like you said, as soon as Reid gets here, and he inherits, one of the better running back rooms in the league when you're talking about Jamal Charles leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamal's best years were 2013, 2014. Those were, and Reid has a lot to do with that as well. Obviously, bringing in his, his offense and opening it up a little more for Jamal. But those were his best years. Bieniemy was coaching him up, and then unfortunately, when Jamal Charles goes down in the middle of 2015, we got to rely on undrafted free agent running backs, Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware.
Yeah.
And hey, they fill in really well. They look really good, good enough to for Ware to be the starter the next year. And that you got to give credit to Bieniemy for that. He's their position coach. Like I said, they were both undrafted free agents. No one else in the NFL wanted them. They were on the practice squad all year. Some team could have taken them if they wanted, but Bieniemy made him playable enough to where, like I said, Ware was a starter the next year, and we held on to him for a couple of years. And then in 2017, his last year as the running backs coach before he made the move to OC, he helps Kareem Hunt, a third-round pick, turn into the league's leading rusher in his rookie year. So you got to give credit to Bieniemy. The Chiefs have had really good fortune with the running back position over the years. You hear, Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, Jamal Charles. Now we got, a good one again. And, Bieniemy's got to get credit for making Edwards-Helaire look as good as he has so far. But specifically before he became the OC, when he was just a running backs coach, he gets a lot of credit for the success that Charkandrick West, Spencer Ware, and Kareem Hunt had in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I was saying, like for the past, really, you go all the way back, like you said, at the Priest Holmes, like Kansas City always had a good running back. So, his philosophy. What is his philosophy?
Yeah, so he was an offensive coordinator in college for his alma mater for Colorado for 1 year, but he really hadn't had a lot of, or 2 years, I guess, excuse me. 2 years. But he really hasn't had a lot of experience actually being a play caller until, and he's still not actually the technical play caller, but until he became the offensive coordinator. Now, what his responsibility is, and I'll just get into that real quick, is that he takes the play call from Andy Reid, and relays it to Mahomes. So he isn't doing the play calling, but he is the one, relaying it in. So he's still not technically the play caller. So we don't know exactly what his offense of his would look like, just his own doing without the help of Andy Reid or anything. But I will say, Reid makes sure we know that he is very instrumental in the creativity that we see on offense sometimes.
I want you to say this. I'm sorry to cut you off. I want you to say this louder for the people in the back. I want you to say this louder for the people in the back. Yes, this is what I wanted to hear. This is what I wanted to hear. I want you to say it again. Who's actually the play caller and who's calling the plays?
Yeah, they make it very known that Andy Reid is the one. He's the one thinking up the play. He's the one calling the play. But their system is he relays it to Bieniemy, and then Bieniemy relays it into the quarterback. But yes, Andy Reid is the one calling the plays.
Thank you, because a lot of people been saying, "Oh man, we need to hire." I don't have nothing against Bieniemy. I think he's a great guy. He could turn out to be, I ain't gonna say another Sean Payton, but he hasn't had that experience yet to just call plays on his own. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like, hey, I know Andy Reid. I know him very well.
Yeah.
Andy Reid been doing this for 30-some years. He's not finna give up any type of like power for somebody else.
Heck no.
Thank you.
No, yeah, but we gotta, like I said though, Bieniemy, just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean we don't know if he can or not. And they make it well known that he is very a big part of their creativity on offense, like what we just saw on Monday night. That touchdown throw to Eric Fisher, a left tackle. Apparently, Bieniemy was the one that completely made that play up. It wasn't Reid at all. That's what they said. And even the Super Bowl play where they called it Rose Bowl Right Parade, where all the players turned in a circle for a second. That was all Bieniemy as well. So he has that creativity, and I think Reid feeds off of that, and they're just a really good duo. People believe that Bieniemy kind of balances out Reid's tendency to throw too much. Bieniemy might pound the table to run a little more, and it's good to have that balance. You don't want to run or pass too much. So I'd say just knowing what we know now, he's a creative guy, and he's learning from, like you said, one of the best play callers of all time. So he's learning a lot. But we just haven't seen exactly what an offense that he runs, that he is the main source of the creativity and what's being called. We haven't seen what that looks like yet.
Yeah. Like I said, he'll be a good coach. He will be a good coach. But it's just my humble opinion. I don't feel like that's what the Atlanta Falcons need right now, because our problem is not offense. Do you agree?
I do agree, yeah, and I think it's funny. It's ironic. I wouldn't say it's funny because I'm not the fan of the team, but Dan Quinn's a defensive coach, and it seems like the problems for the Falcons do lie on their defense. You can't expect your offense to score 30 or 40 points every game. It's the NFL. Matt Ryan's great, but you can't expect him to be at the MVP level like he was that 1 year all the time. So. Yeah, I don't think offense is necessarily the problem. I think if you guys were a little stronger on defense, no one would say the offense is a problem because, you put up enough points to win. The defense just got to get a stop sometimes. So I agree with you. Bieniemy is an offensive-minded coach, obviously, but he brings more to, the team than just how well they do on offense. I think, and we can get into that a little later, but I think he is, a great leader of men, and he's proven that as an offensive coordinator so far.
Okay, that's good. Now, I'm going to address another topic in the room. Did he play a significant role with developing Pat Mahomes?
I would say yes. And the reason I say that is he has been the offensive coordinator for his first year was when Mahomes became the starter. So Mahomes has only known Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator. He didn't. He knew Matt Nagy, the Chicago Bears coach now. He knew him as a quarterback coach. He was never the offensive coordinator. You have to give Bieniemy credit because Mahomes has become the best quarterback in the league in only 2 years of starting, this is his third year starting now, and Bieniemy is directly related, directly involved with him every day in practice, every day in the film room, all of that. So you have to give him, some credit for that. But like I was saying earlier, he is the one that relays the calls into Pat, and they have to have really good communication to be able to do that. You have to be able to kind of know what he's going to say. And they've talked about it in the media that Mahomes sometimes can finish the sentence, the play call of what Bieniemy is going to say, just because they know each other so well. Mahomes is so comfortable with the offensive system. He kind of knows, hey, in this situation, we're probably going to do this. So once Bieniemy starts saying the play, Mahomes is like, all right, I got it. So they have a really good connection. They have a really tight relationship because of that. I would say Bieniemy deserves some credit for the development, but it's hard to tell exactly how much. And Andy Reid deserves a lot as well, and so does the individual player himself, Pat.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes is he is smart. You got to be smart to go to doggone Texas Tech. So
yeah,
there ain't no easy school to get in. So all right. Let me get into the chat real quick. What's good, Sean? He said we got to break up the team, bro. Like, no, we got talented players. It's just a coaching staff. Stop. He said that's Andy Reid's offense. Let's just be real. Yeah, we just said that. Anthony Wright said we don't need Eric Bieniemy here in Atlanta. We need a head coach with experience. So you want Jeff Fisher as a head coach? He got experience. I know you don't want no problems. I know you don't want any Jeff Fisher problems. I know you don't want no Hugh Jackson problems or Marvin Lewis. Hey, Marvin Lewis, he had 20 years head coaching experience. Y'all want Marvin Lewis as a head coach? Come on now. Sometimes you got to give people a chance. All right. The same thing with Don Martindale. I've been saying for y'all for a whole year. Y'all talking about y'all don't want Don Martindale because he ain't got no head coaching experience. Sometimes you got to give people a chance. Look at Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, 2 years as a head coach, won the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
You got to give people a chance sometimes.
Well, hey, I'll go off that because I think one of the frustrating things about following the team the past couple of years has been Bieniemy not getting a chance at becoming a head coach. He's been interviewed plenty of times. The last 2 off seasons, he's been interviewed by a handful of teams each year, and he hasn't gotten a job yet. And you see some of these, some of the teams that are looking bad right now that look like they may be firing their coach. The Jets, for example, they hired they interviewed Bieniemy during that process of hiring Gase, and they decided to go with Gase. So, it's kind of frustrating that Bieniemy hasn't gotten that chance. And, the media, not the media, I should say, but Andy likes to kind of excuse it by saying the teams don't have a lot of time to talk to coaches, specifically when his current team is in the playoffs and on these championship runs like the Chiefs have been the past 2 years, which, okay, that's a fair excuse to use. But you look at his resume, you look at what he's done, you look at how he speaks to the media. He's a very good talker. He's very good at coach speak. He knows what to say. He knows all the cliches. And that's a good thing, I think, when you're talking about a head coach. You don't want them to say too much or reveal too much. He's way overqualified, in my opinion. Situation to situation, maybe he doesn't fit one place or the other. But overall, he should be a head coach by now, and someone needs to give him a freaking chance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. All right, let me get back in the chat. Matt Mike, what's good, man? He said, "Oh man, that's not good." Maggie was good. R. Chapman, Rashad was good, man. He said, been telling people that Eric does not call the plays. He said, Andy is running the show. And Matt Mike said, what are his strengths in your opinion? He pretty much said that he know, because Bieniemy, he is a running back coach by trade. So do you think that most of the run plays is designed by Eric?
I wouldn't. Maybe I wouldn't say design, but I would say it seems like that Bieniemy, and they've acknowledged this. The coaches have that Bieniemy kind of helps Reed balance out his tendency to call maybe not as many runs as he needs to. The analytical movement in the NFL these days. People want to say establishing the run is a myth or whatever. At some point, you do need to run the football. You do need to be able to be effective at it, and you can't pass too much. And Reed especially with a quarterback like Mahomes, you might get a little, you want to pass a little too much just because you can trust Mahomes to make the right play. He's not going to put it in harm's way, maybe. But you got to be able to run the ball, and I think Bieniemy understands that a little more maybe than Reed does, and he understands the how the physicality of the run game and empowering over a defense can really help the offense open up. So yeah, I think maybe not the design of the plays, the run plays, but the calling of the run plays is definitely on him. He balances that out.
So I'm glad that you said that he's balanced, and that's the one thing about the Falcons offense. We're not balanced enough. We want Matt Ryan to throw 50, 60 times a game. That you can't win games like that. You have to run the ball. You got to run the ball effectively, like you just said. And I'm glad you also point out another topic about analytics, because a lot of people just want to just do the eye test. It's the eye test. You can't just go off the eye test. You got to look at stats. You got to look at analytics. It's there for you. It shows you. It tells you how you can beat your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed in the last Falcons game, the Bears game, because I actually picked the Falcons to win, so I was hoping they'd get it out. But just the fact that in the second half they're up by 2 possessions and they still want to just draw back and throw it instead of trying to run the ball. Take some take some time off the clock.
Exactly.
Make it harder on the Bears to score. And so yeah, I totally agree with you. The analytics are important to figure, but I think people kind of overgeneralize analytics and say, oh, well, running the ball isn't, efficient or whatever. Well, it's efficient in certain scenarios. It may not be generally efficient throughout the entire game to run the ball more than you pass. But if you're up 2 possessions in the second half, you don't want to have a drive that goes 30 seconds because you went 3 and out on 3 incomplete passes. You need to be able to run the ball, chew off some clock. So,
Bingo.
yeah, I agree.
Bingo, man. That's what we're trying to tell people. Like, people don't understand that. Like, they want, oh man, we need to know if you got the lead, if you got the lead, run the ball. Yeah. Just like that's how y'all won the Super Bowl. Yep. Kyle Shanahan want to throw the ball in the fourth quarter. He was averaging six yards a carry. If he would have just kept running the ball, y'all would have lost. But, lo and behold, y'all was on the right side of history because guess what? Kyle Shanahan didn't learn his lesson from Super Bowl 51 when he was our offense coordinator. And, hey, that's what he get. But anyway. But what's good, LaTravis? He said, so basically he proved our theory that Andy's more than Eric. He said somebody actually mentioned him. Mad Mike, he said, Jets are dumb, dumb, dumb. Yeah, they are dumb because they don't learn. Gabe, what's good, man? If you ain't sub to the channel, man. Good to see you. He said he want Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator out there in San Francisco. He'll be all right, but that's like another he's like another Dan Quinnish type person, pretty much playing on a defense that has a lot of talent. You got a lot of first rounders on there. You got a lot of like highly serviceable free veterans on there. I'm good on that, man. I'm good on that. Matt Mike, he said, in your opinion, what would Bieniemy offense look like?
What would Bieniemy's offense look like? So, I think he's learned a lot from Andy. I think it would look very similar to Reed's, and why wouldn't it? If you've been learning under one of the best offensive play callers at all time, why wouldn't you want to, reflect that in your next job, kind of do what they were doing? But it's a lot harder when you don't have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, all that. Although, the Falcons, if if he was to go to them, they got a heck of a skill position group to work with. So, I think it looks similar to Andy's. Maybe a little more ground and pound, maybe a little more focus on being able to run the ball effectively. The Chiefs try to run the ball, but they're not as effective as they could be. They're not the Ravens. They're not averaging so and so yards per carry. But I think if Bieniemy was the main guy and he was controlling his own offense, I think he'd, in training camp and offseason, all that, he would be focused on getting a strong run game a little more, maybe getting a little creative with it. I think that's the main difference, I guess, between them.
Okay. All right. LaTravis said we are sorry we failed you. What are you talking about, LaTravis? He said we had 4 possessions in the fourth quarter. Each drive ended up punt, and interception. We ran 13 offensive plays, and 10 of them were passes in the fourth quarter. You talking about the Bears game? Gabe, he said not necessarily they got hurt badly and they shut down the Jets. No matter how trash the Jets are, they picked Sam Darnold twice with a banged up defense. Quinn was more so because he was with Pete Carroll. So Robert Saleh was Pete Carroll too. People forgot about that. He was the linebackers coach out there, I believe. And then he went to Jacksonville. He was also the linebackers coach out there too. Gus Bradley was a head coach, and then he went over there with Kyle Shanahan. So look, man, I really feel like that defense was really built by John Lynch. John Lynch is really the architect of that defense. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of see it. They've gotten injured, and their defense has still been good. It's still been solid, I guess, the past couple of weeks. But it seemed like that first game when they were injured against the Jets, the Jets kind of did some stuff on them towards the end of the game. But yeah, it's hard to tell. The Niners are so talented with so much talent. It's kind of hard to tell who's getting credit for that.
Yeah, it's just my take on that, man. The Jets gonna find a way to lose. That's just how it is, man.
Yep.
All right. Next question. If he leaves KC, would the team miss a beat?
Well, it's a tough question because I think whoever is coaching this team, and honestly, whoever's playing around Mahomes, I think they're at least going to be a 500 team as long as Mahomes is healthy and playing the whole season. Yeah, I do think they lose a little bit of something. I think Bieniemy brings this, and he balances out Reed more than just on the field. It's off the field too. Reed, he'll get on somebody's butt, and he'll get a little fire in him, and yell if he needs to. But Bieniemy is really the guy that's assertive in the locker room, really gets guys focused, and hey, if you messed up, he'll let you know you messed up, and how bad he's grilling you is kind of letting you know how bad you messed up and how significant of a mistake it is and all that. So I think the Chiefs would lose that leadership in the offensive coaching staff. I think Reed is just to that point where, and he's a little older too. He's not gonna be yelling and screaming, and sometimes you need that. And Bieniemy, it's not like Bieniemy's out of control with it. He's really good at turning it off and on. He knows how to be assertive and aggressive when he needs to be, and talk nice when he needs to. So, and you can hear it at training camp. You can hear him. He's the loudest coach out there. So I think the Chiefs would lose that. They might lose an edge, maybe. Bieniemy might give them a little edge before a game or during a game. Hey, kind of remind them. Give them a little words of encouragement and get them pumped up again. Stuff like that. I think he's really good at that stuff.
All right, I got a good question right here for LaTravis. He said if Bieniemy becomes our head coach, does he needs a strong defensive coordinator to help take the Atlanta to the next level? Now, I'm gonna say this: if he becomes the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, we need to hire Wade Phillips as our DC.
Ooh, I like that. That's
my only way. That's the only way I get on air. I'm like I said, I love the man, but at the same time, the problem with the Falcons is defense. All right, and I'm a defensive person anyway. It just people in the city, they are fed up with defensive-minded head coaches because of Quinn and Mike Smith. But these guys were never proven from the get-go. It just they rode the coattails of their head coach who were defensive-minded coaches in their own right and were proven guys. But like I said, if I'm the only way I'll be pro Eric Bieniemy, it would be if he bring in Wade Phillips to be the defensive coordinator for this team. That's it. All right. So, what's your take on that?
Oh yeah, no, I'd agree with that. You definitely want to have a strong defensive coordinator. I mean, a guy like Spags is really helping. Spagnuolo, he's really helping the Chiefs currently. With his strong defense. So yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, Wade Phillips, that'd be freaking awesome. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. I thought it was kind of silly that the Rams, let him go. But maybe maybe he's old. However that works, I'm not sure. But yeah, that'd be a good hire. Whoever is a defensive coordinator, you'd hope it'd be a big name and a good name to. Who's the defensive coordinator now? I mean, does Quinn call the plays
It's
or?
Raheem Morris.
Oh yeah, he is there. Well, he's young and upcoming. I mean, I don't know. I know. Maybe he's not young. I guess he
Yeah,
has.
he had a gig in Tampa Bay. He was a head
Yeah,
coach out there when they fired Gruden.
that's true. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say Bieniemy. He's a good, and hey, maybe he brings over a defensive assistant from the Chiefs if he wanted to. I know Brendan Daly, our defensive line coach, was in line to be the Patriots defensive coordinator when he was the defensive line coach there, but they chose to go with Brian Flores instead before he left for Miami. So Daly's going to be a defensive coordinator one day in the league, and he's probably the best candidate for that. So hey, you could hop on that too. Who knows?
Brian Daly. All right, I need to keep that in mind. All right. James, what are you talking? First off, thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also share this content out with the Atlanta Sports Fanatics. He said that yes or DQ can be the DC and go back to the 2016 D. Our 2016 defense was not good, James. We was ranked 26th in the league. It just Matt Ryan was that good, and the offense was so potent it drug us to the Super Bowl. Like that too. Please don't no. Like that 2016 defense was horrible. For us even making it to the Super Bowl that year with that defense was pretty much like mind-boggling in my opinion. But I don't want Dan Quinn is not finna get demoted to a defensive coordinator. That's not happening. Guess what? He tried to do it last year, and look what happened. We was 1-7 before bye week. No, I'm good on that. And he said that y'all know we're not getting a black head coach. Man, I don't care what color the person is, man. As long as they can come in and get us a top 10 defense. I don't care if they doggone from Mars. Shoot, they can get us a top 10 defense. That's all I care about. All right. Gabe said no, they will still be Super Bowl contenders. Reed is still a Super Bowl coach from Philly too. Yeah, he pretty much saying that y'all not gonna miss a beat if Eric leaves. All right. LaTravis said Smitty and Quinn was coaching talented defenses when they got the job for us. Yeah, that's right. They had a lot of talent on their defense. That is absolutely correct. Gabe said, I will say this, Andy Reid assistants have been fairly good over the years of the team. That is true because Doug Peterson, he won a Super Bowl. You go back to Philly when they had Brad Childress. He had a good team in Minnesota. He can just get them over to the Super Bowl. And then you had John Johnson, who never was a head coach, but he was a great defensive coach. In my opinion, he died in 2009. Rest in peace. But yeah, he always had good talent on. Nagy and who else was there in Kansas City?
Yeah. Well, not in Kansas City, but John Harbaugh was a special team coordinator under Andy Reid.
Sure was.
Besides that, I know Todd Bowles. I know he's not a head coach anymore, but he used to be an assistant. Sean McDermott, the Bills head coach, was an assistant under Andy at one point.
And then you also had Steve Spagnuolo. He was also there too before he went to New York.
Yes, and also Ron Rivera. I mean, there's a lot of coaches you can go. I know at one point, I know it's not like this anymore. At one point, 8 of the 32 head coaches in the league were related to Andy Reid or Andy Reid somehow. So he has a great tree. There's no doubt about that. And Bieniemy's the next one. So,
all right, Matt Mike. He said, "Will Bieniemy bring a 3-4 or 43 defense here?"
Well, he's been playing in Kansas City. We've had a 4-3 since Spagnuolo got here,
Yeah.
and I think, in my opinion, I think that's the way to go for your base defense. I think I'm not a huge fan of the 3-4. I don't have a specific reason why. I think the 4-3 just makes a little more sense for the personnel in today's game. Um, so yeah, I mean, he doesn't probably have say in what the defense would be, but he's been playing with a 4-3 the past few years. So
All right, James. If you, yeah, I got to look. We have a Facebook page. We got a Twitter. You see that bar on the bottom of the screen? That's where you can find us at. We also, if you just want to check the audio out, we got we on Apple Podcasts, we on Spotify, we on Google Play, we everywhere. All right, so come follow us, man. Chat it up. Hey, if you on Facebook, yeah, let me know your name so I can follow you, and I can probably put you in the FILA group. All right. So let's go ahead to the last question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. So, if he becomes the next head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, how do you think he will improve the team? And hold on before you answer that question, because he's an offensive-minded coach. Most offensive-minded coaches, as soon as they become that next head coach of the team, the first thing they do in their offseason in the draft, they do what?
yeah, draft offensive players.
They're going to draft him a quarterback. They're
Oh
going to
yeah,
draft him a quarterback.
sure. Yeah, especially in the Falcon situation. Yeah.
Now, that's the thing. And that's, we know Matt Ryan is getting up there in age, but I still feel like most quarterbacks now, man, they can play well into their 40s. Matt Ryan still got a lot of left in the tank, from the great Mark Henry. He said back in 2013, whatever. But anyway, so if he becomes the next head coach, how do you think the team will improve under him? Do you think they'll improve under him?
I think I believe in Eric Bieniemy, so I would like to say they would improve. But I think, like we've been talking all show, I think it is important to understand that their offense really isn't the problem. So him coming in and changing the offense, I believe he'd do a good job. And hey, maybe they do take go up a rank or two in the league and offensive, output or whatever. But that's not the only thing he would bring as a head coach. Like I was kind of saying earlier, true leadership. I mean, he really handles the media correctly. He does not throw players under the bus. He will never shy away from taking the blame, even if it's not owed to him. I think Andy's really taught that on to him, and you can tell when he talks to the media. And I don't know how Quinn handles the media. I don't know if he is,
Quinn is just so not like he's not nonchalant, but like he with these catchphrases and stuff, man. I'm like, bro, just go out there and just coach. Come up with a good game plan to win games. That's all we ask, man. We don't need these slogans that you be saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean by that. So I think Bieniemy just knows kind of when to say something and when not to say something. He kind of knows how to dance around a question so he doesn't have to answer it if he doesn't need to. But when he feels comfortable that he can answer it without giving away anything about scheme or anything, he will give a thoughtful answer, and I've appreciated that as a journalist covering him. And he's just a fun guy. He cracks jokes in the media, and he'll razz players a little bit, but he'll also hold players and coaches accountable. I will say there was one altercation with Travis Kelce on the sideline during a game last year where the TV cameras caught them kind of. I think Bieniemy was kind of just getting into him a little bit because Kelce had dropped a few balls before that point, and Kelce kind of shoved him. Kelce kind of pushed him out of the way, and Bieniemy kind of got in his face for that. And the media automatically goes, oh, there's trouble and stuff. And in the post game press conference, both Bieniemy and Kelce say, hey, it was all good. We hugged it out, and there was video of them hugging it out afterwards. But that's the kind of stuff like, hey, in the heat of battle, a coach may get pretty heated with a player, and a player may get heated with the coach, but it doesn't go past that. Bieniemy makes sure, hey, it's all love. He's just trying to get into you so you're making a bad mistake, and we need you to stop making that mistake. What? So that's what I really like about Bieniemy. I think he's just a really good leader of men, and I know that's a cliche thing to say about a head coach, but he really is, and that's the main thing why I've been so surprised that he hasn't gotten a job yet, Plus, on top of the fact that he's been, heading an offense that's been one of the best in league history for the past couple of years. So, I think in general, the best way he'll improve the team is just by being a leader of men, being a good representative of the team, a good diplomat for the team, a good public face for the team, but then also bringing a little more creativity to the offense. And hopefully his resume will bring a strong defense to coach in, like we were saying, and the defense can get a little better.
Yeah. Like, look, man, like you said, that passion he has. Like, I love the passion, but hey, that passion got to translate, in player development. It has to translate with situational play calling, all that, man. All that's a factor, man, and being a good head coach in this league. So, look, I know he'll be a good head coach, but my decision is still gonna stick on, hey, the Falcons need help on defense because, like I said, you pretty much said it too. Matt Ryan's still a good quarterback. He's still elite quarterback in this league. I don't care what anybody say. And Eric coming in, first thing he's gonna want to do, he's gonna want to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
And we cannot get rid of Matt Ryan right now, by the way, you guys, because we have a lot of people in our fan base who keep saying trade Matt Ryan. We need to cut Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and I mean, Dirk Cutter's only been this is his second year as offensive coordinator.
But he was here before, back in 2012 to 2014.
So yeah, where I was going with that was like, yeah, I mean, he's kind of getting it going still. You don't want to just kind of interrupt that all of a sudden and go with a whole nother offensive system 2 years into that. So it is kind of a delicate situation in Atlanta a little bit.
And the thing about Matt Ryan is, I'm not trying to make it about Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan it's just like Alex Smith. He done had a revolving door of offensive coordinators since he been here. Why? Yeah. It's because, Matt Ryan is so good, he allows these offensive coordinators to leave for head coaching jobs.
Yeah. No, yeah, good point. That's a really good point.
So, like I said, hey, a lot of people just been saying Eric Bieniemy head coach, Eric Bieniemy head coach. Like I said, I don't hate the man. I just, I feel like in order for us to be the team that we need to be, we need to hire someone in here who knows defense and who will bring in guys who can help this defense. Let me get back in the chat real quick. Gabe said, I think it's make or break if he does or doesn't get a great DC. And then LaTravis said, Gabe, that's the biggest issue about the Bieniemy situation. He got to have a strong DC. That's correct. LaTravis said, I like that he takes accountability. That's what's been lacking in this regime. Yeah, there's no accountability at all for this team. From pretty much from Thomas Dimitroff all the way down to the players. And LaTravis asked the question. She said, "Can Bieniemy develop players is a key as well?" Yeah, that's right. But like I said, he just pretty much alluded to the fact that Bieniemy, he has his hand on player development there in KC. So he been there since 2012. Well, 2013. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and we talked about this at the top of the podcast about how he got the most out of Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware when they were undrafted free agent rookies. I mean, maybe they might have been second year at that point, but I mean, yeah, I think Bieniemy has had a good hand in player development in the running back position mostly. And hey, even like Damian Williams, who was a veteran undrafted free agent who no one really wanted, we got him for the cheap, and he became a Super Bowl hero. So I think Bieniemy does deserve credit for how well the running backs play in Kansas City.
I feel like Williams should have won that MVP, in my opinion.
I actually agree with that. Pat played great during the fourth quarter, not the rest of the game, and Damian Williams was playing great all game. So exactly. I agree with that.
Exactly.
I was actually kind of surprised he didn't get it. Even with the touchdown run at the end, that's kind of the seal of the game. I kind of thought he deserved it at that point. But.
I agree too, man. But it's the quarterback that always get the shot.
Yeah.
And the running backs, the offensive linemen, man, defense, they don't get anything, man.
Yep, that's true.
All right. Gabe said, hey, they kind of did Damian Williams dirty by drafting Edwards-Helaire. Well, look, man, it's a business, man. You got to. That's the thing about teams. Like, they always bring in you gotta recycle your running backs, man. Every year you got at least every year or two you got to draft you another running back because you never know, man. These running backs don't last longer than the NFL.
No, and I actually wasn't a huge fan of that pick when it happened. I mean, I'll rephrase that. I wasn't a fan of taking a running back in the first round when it happened, and I realized it was Edwards-Helaire. I mean, there couldn't have been a better fit out of the 4 running backs. I mean, I know the 4 running backs that went high are all good players, and they're all going to be pretty good, but Edwards-Helaire just fits this offense so perfectly, and we're already seeing it. I mean, he's looking great so far.
Yeah. Y'all won the Super Bowl too, man. So it really didn't matter who y'all drafted in the first round. Like y'all good. Y'all sitting on diamonds and champagne and stuff right now. So y'all like, damn Mitch boy 82. What's good, man? Hey, if you hit that subscribe button for your boy. He said, do you think the Falcons would fire Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn if they don't make the playoffs this year? Oh, Thomas Dimitroff is not surviving another coaching fire. Your GM, most GMs do not survive. If they survive one, they're not surviving the second one. He's gone. He's leaving he's leaving right behind Dan Quinn. Both of them are gone. Especially when we lose Monday, they're gone.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we've been there for a while. So I mean, at some point, you kind of have to just get a fresh start at some point. So I agree.
All right. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Let everybody know who you are and where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I really appreciate you having me. It was a fun talk. I really enjoyed our conversation. My name is Ron Kopp, Kopp. You can find me on Twitter at Ron_Kopp, Kopp. I write for ArrowheadPride.com. It's the SB Nation Chiefs site. We got a lot of good stuff coming. We're playing the Patriots this Sunday, so if you want a little preview of that big matchup, come on over ArrowheadPride.com.
Yeah, that'll be the game I'm gonna watch because Falcons don't play the Monday. So,
well, there you go. That worked.
Hey, that's a Mississippi State shirt you got on.
Nah, it's a random. I don't even know what this is, honestly.
I say you all the way up there in Kansas City. What you know about Mississippi State?
No, I need to have some Chiefs stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, no, I don't know if you have those gear sales where they just sell a bunch of random college gear for cheap. I take advantage of those all the time. So,
all right. My brother Travis said, "Man, we need to bring you back when we play KC."
Oh yeah, we do play. Oh yeah. Oh seriously, bring me back. That'd be awesome. We can preview the game. We play like week 16, I want to say.
Man, I'm not even. We gonna get drunk.
Well, hey, maybe by the time you're already starting the search for a new head coach. Maybe you already know you need one. So
hey, man, y'all might be sending Pat out for the playoffs. So hey, we might end up winning that game. Hey, you never know.
That's true. It's in Arrowhead. It's in Arrowhead though. So
yeah.
Cold.
Look, man, I've been trying to go up there to Kansas City. I went to college up there in Missouri, by the way. I went to Lincoln University up in Jeff City.
Great. Awesome, dude.
Man, I used to go up there. I used to catch the train to go to Kansas City. Gates, Arthur Bride's, Fiorella's Jack Stack Barbecue. Oh, man. I love Kansas. Look, 2 cities I love to live in. Chicago, Kansas City, because y'all got the best food, man.
Hey, you said the first one right. Gates is the GOAT. Gates is the best.
You like Gates better than Arthur Bride's?
Yeah, I gotta say it. Nothing against any of the other ones, but like, there's just nothing. I don't know. I haven't found something better than Gates. I love Gates.
I love Arthur Bride's better, man. It's the sauce. The barbecue sauce at Arthur Bride's is good. But you know what though? Joe's KC or Oklahoma. We call it Oklahoma Joe's. Other people call it Joe's KC.
Well, they just changed that. It wasn't that long ago. It used to be all, everywhere Oklahoma Joe's, but for some reason, I don't remember the reason, but they changed it to KC Joe's within the last few years. But yeah, that's a good one too. Get the Z-Man. That's
the burn-in sandwich. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So good, man.
Oh yeah. Hey, you're getting me hungry, dude. I'm starving now all of a sudden. I need to go make a late night trip.
Hey man, at least you can make a late night trip. I gotta fly up there to get me something to eat.
True, yeah. Now it's only like a 20-minute drive for me, so.
Man, I'm jealous, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Well, hey, yeah, no, hey, I appreciated the talk, and yeah, we play week 16, so hit me up if you want.
I will, man. And my boy, man, Mike said he'll hit you up as well. So, He
Appreciate
does
it,
his,
guys.
we all in the set. We pretty much all affiliated. Malik, he said, if Thomas Demetriou are fired, should we consider Lewis Riddick as a replacement? No.
No.
You need to know about Jerry Reese. He used to be the GM for the Giants back when they won their 2 Super Bowls. That'll be the guy for us, man. If we talking about defense, just saying that, or we can try to ask Bill Cowher to be our GM. Just saying, just throwing it out there. All right, man. But look, I ain't want to take up all your whole night, man. Appreciate you coming on again, man.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
All right, hey y'all. If y'all new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. Share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. We'll be back Sunday evening with our live show. Y'all have a great evening. This has been the Don's Favor. Good night.